Come with me today as we explore Kiel, Germany.
The port of Kiel is pretty big, and it features several cruise terminals, although there's only one that primarily serves large cruise ships. Now, I like this port because it's so close to the city center and there's a lot to do, and they also make visiting easy by having these colored lines that you simply follow to get into town. It's really cruiser friendly. Now, this cruise port is sometimes billed as Kiel/Hamburg because of its proximity to Hamburg. And you can take a cruise excursion if you want to visit Hamburg, but I think there's plenty to do in Kiel, so I personally chose to save the money and just explore this local area. If you do want to venture into Hamburg, the distance is about 55 miles, so it is about an hour and 15 minutes by car or bus. So if you do want to venture into Hamburg, I do recommend taking a cruise line sponsored excursion versus going on your own. That way you don't risk missing the ship if your tour runs late. The cruise port is located only about a half-mile from Kiel's city center, so it's super easy to access on foot. And as I mentioned before, the marked lines on the sidewalk make getting from the terminal to the city center an absolute breeze. Even at a leisurely pace, you can get there in just about 15 minutes. Now, there are plenty of things to do in Kiel, and like I said, walking around on foot is a great option. I didn't get into Hamburg, but I wanted to have a hamburger in Kiel, which I did, and it was pretty good. Like many European ports of call, old churches and cathedrals are a top sight, and the currency here is the euro. The language is German, and most but not all of the vendors spoke English fluently. You can expect those same cobblestone streets, so make sure you wear appropriate footwear. I actually had one of my favorite little treats here in Kiel. It was a little bakery called Fielder right by the cruise port. So if you have time at the end or beginning of your port day, I recommend stopping here. There are lots of museums and historic buildings, and again, just walking around is great. And there are also some fun modern things in the heart of the city center. And for me, there were two things that absolutely thrilled me. One is this TK Maxx store.
You guys look, it's a TK Maxx.
And a Woolworth store, which took me back to my childhood with so much nostalgia. I didn't think these existed anymore. So in Kiel, you're going to find a little bit more of those modern amenities mixed in with those historic sites, unlike Rona, which is very historic. Some notable things here are St. Nikolai Church, the Hiroshima Park, which is a great scenic stop, and the Kiel Town Hall and Tower. And all of these top sites in Kiel are located just a few blocks from one another. So even in a short port of call day, on foot, you can walk around and see all of the top sites of Kiel. And this is great because European cruise excursions tend to be, in my opinion, really expensive and very limited in options. So unlike some of the more provincial ports, there's much to do here, but it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money.